Yes, I think there are three conditions that need to be in place in order for foreign aid to deliver results. And I think you can see this in a number of African countries, but also in regions outside of Africa. The first one is that aid, when it arrives, is put towards the highest priorities, and it is utilized in a manner that is transparent and traceable. I think when you have those conditions in place, aid has delivered a tremendous impact in development. And you look at a number of countries that have done that. Top of the list comes a country like Rwanda, where with every aid mission, there is a local team that's put together that is able to accompany the definition of the investment, the execution of it, and the reporting on it. And that allows the aid then to really go to the highest priorities. Other countries have done something similar, like Togo and Benin, that have really structured and accompanied development aid to achieve results. The second condition where aid has been extremely effective is the speed at which it arrives. So take, for example, what's happening now with COVID. The IMF in particular was very, very fast in coming up with innovations and solutions that were allowed to provide relief to countries in a very short period of time. And then the World Bank and the African Development Bank were able to restructure the way in which their operations were funded, and that gave immediate supports to countries that were then ready to receive it. So here's an example where multilateral organizations have been flexible and able to bring innovation and speed at a time of great crisis. So aid works very well during periods of crisis if it can be structured in this manner. And then the third condition is where aid does not distort what would have been done anyway by the private sector or domestic resources. And I think this is also very critical when countries have used aid to supplement what they would have done anyway with domestic resources, or have used it to support and crowd in the private sector, that has also worked very well. So using aid in a manner that is not distortive of the economy and the financial markets in general, I think is another critical condition. So those would be three areas where I think if Africa uses aid appropriately, aid can deliver tremendous results. And for all the failures, whether it's what we call the white elephants, which are these massive projects that have just wasted resources with no results, those have come because resources didn't go to the top priorities. They were not properly tracked, or there was corruption and some other lack of transparency in the use of the resources. Or you take a situation where there was a crisis, resources came, but the people didn't see any benefit from that. That's because they were all caught up in sort of administrative costs and broader expenses that didn't really drive to delivering the results directly where it was needed. Or if you take another example where aid was received in large quantities, but then it resulted in squeezing out the private sector, or it was not properly combined with domestic resources. So domestic revenue collection, say from taxes and other fees, went down during the period where aid was high, and that didn't deliver results. So I think these are very important conditions to have in place.